Here's the latest news about the fourth stimulus check. There is progress being made, and many Americans are receiving a fourth stimulus payment in many different ways. Even some state governments are sending out their own state stimulus checks. So folks, be sure to stay until the end of this video to find out the latest news about the fourth stimulus check. So without further ado, let's get into the most important news first. California is one of the few states that have started their own true stimulus checks. And now on their second edition, the second Golden State stimulus checks, residents can receive a $600 payment if they're making less than $75,000 a year. In February, the governor signed a law that allowed for the sending of $600 checks to low-income individuals and non-citizens who were unable to receive federal stimulus checks. This is much greater than the $30,000 eligibility limit for the first round of checks. You must also be a tax resident in California for more than half of the 2020 tax year. More than 9 million people are estimated to qualify for the second stimulus. Governor Newsom is hailing it as the biggest state tax rebate in American history. There has also been no announcement on a third round of Golden State stimulus checks.
And roads, highway, bridges, buses, trains, etc. And the other one is what I call the care economy. Has a lot of money in there for an environmental remediation, as well as care economy. For example, you know, we want to get the economy moving, but millions of women can't go to work because they don't have any child care, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of pieces in there. There's a lot that people don't understand. And by the way, all of it's paid for. Every single penny. It's not going to raise 1 single cent.
We're going to get into a lot of those details. Just though, are you close to a deal?
I think so. You know, look, I was a senator for 370 years, and I was relatively good at putting together deals.
Is this the toughest deal you've worked on?
No. I think banning assault weapons is the toughest deal I worked on, and succeeded.
You're flying to Europe, I think, in 8 days.
Yes.
Do you think you'll have a deal by the time you get on Air Force One in 8 days?
You know, it's like my asking you, are you sure your next show is going to be a success?
Yes.
You know, well, you're more confident than I am. Look, it's all about compromise. You know, compromise has become a dirty word, but it's bipartisanship and compromise still has to be possible. When I ran for the presidency, I said I'm running for 3 reasons. 1, to restore the soul and decency in the country. 2, to build the middle class and the working class so we built from the middle out. And 3, to actually unite the country.
Environmental justice. That's a very important part of all of this for the president. Justice. And creating good paying, clean energy jobs. So it's about the health of our children, the air they breathe, water they drink. It's about jobs, creating good paying green jobs to make us preeminent in the world. And it's about a security issue, as our security experts tell us, competition for habitat and resources in time of drought and the rest, and the migration it contributes to, other natural disasters. It's a national security issue, and of course always a moral issue to pass this planet in the best possible way on to future generations. Children understand that much better than some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, in fact. So this will build back better, achieves better future for workers, their families, and their children, creating good paying jobs, giving a tax cut, a big tax cut to the middle class, lowering costs for families, and making the wealthiest in corporations pay their fair share. So this legislation will be paid for. In fact, it may be more than paid for. Again, it's transformative, it's historic, it's life-changing, and it will pass soon. Again, everything that the congressional Democrats do is our title for the people. But sadly, Senate Republicans continue to stand in the way. Yesterday was such a sad day. Senate Republicans voted to aid and abet the most dangerous campaign of voter suppression since Jim Crow as they blocked a vote on the Freedom to Vote Act, hurting their own constituents and dishonoring the sanctity of the vote in our Constitution. The stakes could not be higher. State lawmakers have introduced 425 voter suppression bills in 49 states in the 2021 sessions alone. A number of them have become law, and they must be overturned, and this legislation would do that. It would not only end their voter suppression laws, but it would end their vote nullification laws. They're there to overturn the.
But the second round that was sent out at the start of August is still in the process of being sent out to people who are eligible. What do you think about this, everybody? Is your own state government doing the same thing? Is your governor sending out his own or her own state stimulus payments? Tell me what you think, everybody, in the comments below. So more than 1.2 million checks were sent out on October 15th. That was just last week. And this is taking the total sent to greater than 4 million. Qualifying residents will typically receive an extra $600 or $500 depending on income and how many dependents that they can claim. Residents who claim at least one dependent will receive an additional $500, meaning they will receive a total of $1,100. That's right, folks. Many people are receiving $1,100 state stimulus checks. So I believe that our governor should do the same thing, and that each state should send out their own state stimulus payment. Now let's get into the most important news. Now let's go over this again. October 6th was the first day that the mail checks were sent out, with the first ones arriving based on your zip code. This will continue until the end of 2021. So if you live in the state of California, expect at least a 2-week wait for the checks to arrive in the post. And in the state of Connecticut, they have started the Back to Work plan. It's involved the provision of a $1,000 check to eligible applicants who get back into the workforce after 8 weeks off of unemployment. That was announced by the governor of Connecticut. So, in the state of Delaware, people who do not typically file federal income tax returns are now being urged to keep an eye out on their mailboxes. This is for the letter from the IRS notifying them that they qualify for an EIP payment. Like I said, folks, in the beginning of my video, many state governors and many residents are receiving stimulus payments, and this is good news. So in the state of Florida, the governor has also given teachers and administrators a $1,000 payment, and things are also being developed and helping out the state residents. So it only makes sense, everybody, for President Biden to do the same thing nationally. He should send out a fourth stimulus check nationwide. And if you guys agree that it must be done, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Now, more than 70 days ago, the US Senate handed President Biden the biggest bipartisan victory yet. That was the infrastructure bill, providing $550 billion in new spending, and $1 trillion overall for highways, transit, water, and broadband. Biden said the historic investment in infrastructure is what the American people want. So, he's given us what we want, folks. But since then, the bill has been languished in the House. That comes as progressives demanded that it not become law before a more expensive and far more partisan human infrastructure bill for childcare. And one of the most important realities in this entire debate is the Democrats enjoy the narrowest of majorities in the Senate and House, which was always going to give Sinema and Manchin outsized role in these negotiations. What are your thoughts on the fourth stimulus payment? Should it be approved by the end of the year? Tell me.